and then we blame the dog. But the dog is doing exactly what we taught the dog to do.
You have problems. The main problem is that you brought them into your house instead of letting them be a working dog.
Or you live in a little bit more aggressive culture.
The Wild West, man.
Yeah.
Hi, and welcome to 10 Minutes with Professor Abrantes, brought to you by the Ethology Institute. Today, we have part 3 of what has been a really super interesting conversation between tutor Michael McManus and Professor Abrantes. If you're just joining us here for part 3, you definitely want to go back and watch part 1 and part 2. Michael McManus had some questions for Professor Abrantes, so we decided to bring them here to 10 minutes so that we could share the answers with all of you guys. And this here that we're going to bring to you now is part 3 of that fascinating conversation.
So to go back to your point about we have to pay the price, this has been one of my big objections. And this is a big trend in the United States. I don't know how it is in other parts of the country, but people seem to go out of their way to bring dogs into their homes as pets who are not supposed to be pets. They're supposed to work in particular environments. They have higher thresholds for aggression, or I should say lower thresholds for aggression. They have lower thresholds for predatory behavior. They have lower thresholds for fearful behavior. They have all sorts of things that are very, very useful for their jobs in the world and make them horrible pets. But people want to do this.
Yes.
And this is a huge problem. And then when they say these dogs have problems, it's like, yeah, they do have problems. The main problem is that you brought them into your house instead of letting them be a working dog.
Yes, that's correct. Look, we want the dog to perform a job that the dog is not born to perform at all. It doesn't have it in its blueprint. To be a Canis lupus familiaris is not easy. And these days, we are even creating a new species, which is a Canis lupus super familiaris, or whatever you want to call it. And it's not easy now. Look, if you took a sheep or cows into your house or wanted to drive with them and visit your friend, etc., you would have problems as well. And these animals even have very low levels in general, of aggressive behavior. So of course you get problems with the dog, with those dogs. By the way, aggressive behavior. Now we talked about aggressive behavior. I do not consider aggressive behavior a bad thing, as you know. Aggressive behavior, like fearful behavior, and dominant behavior and submissive behavior, they all have their distinct functions. And in order to function optimally, these animals, social animals, which have this ability of showing these kind of behaviors, they have to show it with the right intensity toward the right individual at the right time. So none of these things is wrong. What is wrong is to show aggressive behavior when you should show fearful behavior, or to show aggressive behavior when you should show dominant behavior, or to show submissive behavior when you should show aggressive behavior. Yeah. That is what is wrong. But none of these behaviors, there is nothing wrong with them. You cannot live without them. You wouldn't survive long if you have no capacity to show these behaviors at the right time towards the right individual with the right intensity. You don't survive long.
There is a huge trend in the dog world to that, like, any display of aggressive behavior or fearful behavior is a catastrophe. It's a bad thing. And I've never felt this way. I've always felt aggression and fear have their roles, and they have to be expressed in the right scenarios. And I'm one of those people who say, it's a false statement, but it's the statement all dogs are aggressive, which is really to say all dogs have the capability of displaying aggressive behavior because it's a normal behavior. So what do you do with something like what Laura was saying in the messages, in the comments of my post, where if a dog displays any aggressive behavior ever, they can immediately be put down.
No. That I think there is a misunderstanding somewhere there. Hi, Laura. Are you there?
Yes.
Yeah, good. Thank you very much for being available. I'm having a discussion with Michael, a very interesting talk about dominant behavior, aggressive behavior, and you had an exchange of words with Michael. Well, nice exchange of words with Michael about these topics, and it seems that you said something like dogs that display aggressive behavior should be euthanized. And I don't really think that's what you meant exactly. So I would like you to clarify.
Yeah, no, that's not what I meant. In Denmark, there is a law that states that if a dog bites severely, a severe bite, and it's of course reported to the police, then the police will take your dog and send it to evaluation by a professional, whatever that means, and then they'll decide whether or not the dog should be put down. Usually it ends that way.
Okay, but okay. Thank you very much. It's not that you mean your professional opinion that if a dog shows aggressive behavior, it should be euthanized right away.
No, not at all. I don't like that law at all. So it's just the conditions of having a dog in Denmark.
Okay, because of course aggressive behavior is a serious thing, and we should take it very seriously. But there are many factors to be considered, right?
Yes, and it's very natural behavior and necessary behavior in some situations. So, what is aggressive behavior? That could be many things.
Yeah, and when is it justified and when it is not justified? Of course, in principle, we can agree a dog should never, ever, ever, ever bite a human. And
Yes.
if it is a serious bite, then of course it's a thing that we have to consider seriously, right?
Yes, but we have cases where dogs have bitten other dogs, and if it makes a puncture to the skin, that's usually a death sentence for the biting dog. Sadly, even if it is completely justified.
Okay.
And part of natural dog behavior.
Yeah, and that is the law in Denmark.
Yes.
Okay, Laura, thank you so much for being available and for clarifying it. You'll see it in the 10 minutes with myself, 10 minutes with Professor Abrantes.
Cool.
Thank you, Laura. Thank you, and have a good day. Thank you.
You too.
I mean, we just agreed that aggressive behavior, fearful behavior, dominant behavior, submissive behavior, they all have their functions, right? So there are situations where the best strategy is to show aggressive behavior.
It seems to violate the fifth law of animal welfare that animals need to have the right to display normal behavior.
Yes. You see, the problem is, if you ask me if the dog should be aggressive towards humans, for instance, no, it should not. It should not be aggressive towards humans. But we should not put them in the situation where the best strategy for them is to show aggressive behavior. Many owners they accept that and they reinforce that actually. So the dog the aggressive behavior escalates. Maybe also because they do not recognize what is aggressive behavior. These days, Michael, there are no aggressive dogs. They are reactive, as you know. Everybody says that dogs are reactive. So they do not recognize aggressive behavior. And if they do not recognize it, they don't know when it is escalating. And then it comes to a point where it has become normal behavior for that dog to display aggressive behavior because, now let's go to behaviorism, because the owners have reinforced that continuously. And then we blame the dog. But the dog is doing exactly what we taught the dog to do.
My mind was going a different direction with that, which is that there are plenty of examples of dogs defending their family from humans that were attacking them. And this is a prime example of when aggressive behavior towards a human, at least in the United States, is acceptable. If you come and assault me with a knife and my dog attacks you, if my dog bites you, they're not held responsible for that.
Yeah, I'm not sure it's like that in Europe.
Yeah.
In Europe, actually, you can basically not defend yourself.
See, but that isn't that the exact scenario where aggressive behavior should be appropriate? It's I don't know. That bothers me as an American.
Yeah, I know. You are a little bit more. You live in a little bit more aggressive culture.
The Wild West, man.
Yeah. But now you say that many dogs will defend their owners. Well, many dogs will not defend their owners.
Yeah, most of my dogs wouldn't defend me.
No.
I have one or two that would.
Yeah. Well, then you're lucky in that situation.
Do you want to hear more? We will pick up this conversation where it left off in the next episode of 10 Minutes with Professor Abrantes. This has been part 3 in what is a 4-part conversation between tutor Michael McManus and Professor Abrantes. So part 4 will be coming up soon, but for now, that does it for this particular edition of 10 Minutes with Professor Abrantes. If you want more, you can go to the website, that's ethology.eu. There are courses, there are certification courses, and all kinds of free articles and videos for you to check out. That is at ethology.eu. And we will be back with part 4, the final part of this fascinating conversation between Michael McManus and Professor Abrantes. See you next time.